teachers of Reddit. What is the most ridiculous excuse for unfinished homework that you've ever heard? A kid, high school, claimed that he couldn't do his homework because his grandmother wouldn't give him back his textbook, which she had taken in retaliation for his theft of her wooden leg. The fifth time the same student said he lost his homework running from a dog that was chasing him on the way home. Might be time to try a new route. I used to get chased by this little s of a chihuahua while walking to school. The problem was, my walk was normally 8 miles and, unless I was willing to walk almost 2 miles partially along a highway, I had to cross paths with this dog. Normally this dog would come at me barking up a storm, but one day this little s went into stealth mode and got really close to me before I took off running. I wasn't fast enough and it tore one of the legs of the pants I was wearing. The next day, I was extra careful approaching the street and thought I was in the clear not seeing the dog, and then it came at me. In a panic as it lunged for my leg, I scoop kicked it, which I guess was good, since it wasn't an impact kick. But I brought it a few feet off the ground and then it landed, whimpered, and hobbled off. I still feel bad about panicking like that, but also F that dog and its owners for allowing it to happen. I've got the opposite story. A teacher lost my homework he marked as he left it in his shed, and it got eaten by slugs. He did show me the slug eaten paper and gave me full marks for it, so it wasn't all bad. My toddler once completely shredded about 5 kids' assignments I'd taken home to mark. Luckily they were able to reprint them for me, but it was a little embarrassing. To shreds you say, well, how's his wife holding up? To shreds you say. The student claimed he put it in a room in his house. He then forgot the room existed. He was at a loss to explain where his homework was. He was upset to think he must have imagined doing it. He apologized to me. The next week, to his amazement, he found the room. And more amazingly, he found his homework. He handed it in that week. Now this may seem like nonsense, but it turns out he had an operation to remove a tumor from his brain when he was 10. One of the outcomes was a strange side effect that for a short period he could utterly forget a room or more in his house. True story. Confirmed from his mother and sister. So the family was in it. Damn. Well played. Truly playing the long con. The hard part was growing a tumor just so. Lately it's always I couldn't access the file. Or my personal favorite. The student facing interface was acting up like NHMMMOK, but you have my email. I have a no questions asked extension policy for every assignment, and I assigned this to you 5 days ago. I genuinely have the student facing interface act up sometimes, in which case I just email them the homework. The program my daughter uses for school goes down occasional. I just tell her to email her teachers to let them know and to check back in an hour. I did the homework the day you gave it to us, which is 1 week ago. Except that I did in an old rough copy of mine, and yesterday when I got back from school, Dad sold all of our old stationeries for petty cash. I was so mad at my dad. I didn't do my homework to teach him a lesson. Could you please call home and tell him about this? I couldn't help but laugh. Askreddit. I called home and told his dad to get him a chess set, because this guy can think. Dad sold stationery for drug money. He's on that white hustle. I was at art during uni. They sent me an email. Sorry, computer is broken, I'll need an extension. This was early 2000s, so where were they emailing from? If it was the computer lab, well then, that's where they could do the assignment. But more than that, they were on my ICQ. I'll let students add me for extra help, so I saw them online pretty much all weekend. I mean, if their computer worked well enough for that, and to look at pictures of kitties, how could they not complete their work? Well, who wouldn't want to look at pictures of kitties, lol. Taught instrumental music down in South Texas, so I basically never gave any sort of homework outside of practicing. 6th grade, gave the kiddos a super basic theory sheet to complete that was due back in 2 days. Since I had a dentist appointment the next day, when I'm collecting the sheets, a trombone kid tells me my grandma stole my homework in Mexico and wouldn't give it back. Turns out they were visiting his grandparents over the border outside Matamoros, and his grandma really wanted something of his to hang on her refrigerator. So she took the homework he had just finished and put it up. Kid protested, but she wouldn't relent. So he snapped a pic as proof, graded the sheet from the picture. Kid got an A. I got a story. Edit. Thank you for the awards and kind words. Hope this little story from the beautiful Rio Grande Valley brightens someone's day. My senior year in high school, I was doing a project with another kid in my class. The day it was due, he was walking to school with it, and he got hit by a car and died. It was terribly sad, and it was big news. The next day the teacher asked where my project board was, and I tell him the kid was carrying it when he died. The asshole straight up asked if I knew where it ended up. Sorry teacher. I didn't think to call and ask his grieving mother if she happens to know where the homework of her not even buried yet son is. Like that is on anyone's priority list. Asshole. Had a student get badly injured in a terrible car crash. She had to have surgery on her face. Most of us excused her from finals. Some C teachers made her come in. Her face was all swollen, and her mouth was hanging, like she'd had a stroke, because she hadn't had the surgery yet. I told her that her surgery was her final for anatomy, since she was learning more about practical application of anatomy than I could teach in class. You a real one. Thank you. Not a teacher. My little sister ate my homework in the first grade and no one believes me. Does your sister remember doing it? No, because after that he ate his sister. Is he Jupiter? Saturn? Not a teacher. But we had a report due and I waited until the last minute like always. I slept through class mostly, and one day I was abruptly woken up and asked for my report, and I said half asleep. I didn't do it because my mom died. The teacher was disgusted that I would say something so cruel and sent me to the principal's office. The teacher was called into the principal's office after they found out I wasn't joking and was so apologetic. I wasn't trying to be a jerk about it. I was just tired. Usually, nowadays, when something like this happens, an email will be sent to the school staff so we know that might be part of it. Not a teacher, but happened in my class. Student was constantly late to first period. Also hardly ever brought in his homework in. One day, teacher asked him why he was late and why no homework. My sister burned down the house this morning. Javerion laughed. The kid got up and left. Turns out, his sister did burn down the house. Left her curling iron on some paper or something. I hope that poor kid's doing okay now. I ran out of pencil ink. It's sad that I would accept this excuse, since I know the area I live in, and it's believable that there isn't a working pencil/pen in their entire home. The joke is that pencils don't have ink. You can run out of pencil lead. It's believable that a child would make this mistake when trying to explain. A friend of mine had a dog that tore her homework to pieces. Our teacher only spoke English, which is not our first language, and my friend didn't know how to say tear apart in English, so she instead said my dog ate it. He laughed and didn't believe her. We had never heard the cliché phrase before. I think it's an English thing, so it was all very confusing. My dog ate my homework when I was in 8th grade. Did I cover it in peanut butter to have him strategically eat the parts I didn't do? Yes, but I brought in the proof and the homework was excused. I sent it by one of the major express companies, and they told me that the package had been opened and emptied. They checked their security cameras at their hub center and found nothing. They are just as baffled as I am. Apostrophe. Classic Tucker. Not a teacher, but one of my classmates said that their dog ate their homework. 1. She has a cat too. The homework was online. Took him a couple bites. Damn you. The new version of this is just uploading a blank document to the online Dropbox and playing dumb. Gee, professor, I'm not sure why that's blank. How weird. Isn't that weird? Well, here is my paper 2 days after the due date. You can actually create a Word file with random text, edit it with Notepad, and delete some symbols. When you try to open it, it will fail. Empty files work too, but if you add some random text, the file size is more believable. I overheard a professor at my college on the phone with it. He had received one of these, and once he understood what happened, he failed the student. I get kids who tell me they were cutting class / came late / slept through / talked through directions, so they didn't hear the assignment / know how to do it, so they don't have to do it. This is a little off topic, but the question reminded me of this. Back in 2nd grade in the mid-80s for me, I had a mean teacher. One time I didn't do my homework. She asked why, and I told her I didn't feel like doing it because I had a headache from listening her talk all day. She gave me a paddling, which was the norm back then. She then asked me if I was going to start doing my homework. I told her no, because my butt hurts now. I'm going to have to tend to that when I get home instead of doing homework. It was worth it because it made the class laugh. Damn, that's a legendary level of sass. Teacher of mine gets mad sometimes and then says she never gets mad. One time when she was mad again, one of my classmates sarcastically said, "But she's not mad, guys." The entire class laughed, but she became furious LMAO. A student told me she had a bad dream about her cousin taking her and her dog on a road trip in a Ferrari. I never quite understood how having a dream about a Ferrari road trip made someone not be able to complete work. This excuse is bad on so many levels. Yeah, it is, but honestly I loved it. It was via email, and when I got it, so I burst out laughing, screen capped it, and sent it to a group thread with some friends. I taught math and science to a grade 7 class last year. The work a student handed in was not in their own handwriting, so I called the parents. The dad admitted to doing the work for him because my son's going to be in the NHL. He doesn't need to do math and science in grade 7 inches. This kid wasn't even the best player on his rep team. It's mind-boggling how stupid people can be. Ups lost the flash drive. Sorry to hear about that. Tucker Carlson. Don't worry, we of course backed up our. Hang on. I'm being told that we did not, in fact, back up any data. This country has a couple long weekends, but the students want to get a couple more days off on top of it. So on like Tuesdays and Wednesdays before the holiday I start getting messages about people's dead grandmothers. It's never the grandfather. How many fucking grannies are dying out there? I'm gonna starting asking for a picture of the body. We always joke that midterm is a dangerous time of year for grandmas. They really gotta be more careful. You're actually not far off. December through March should have a higher proportion of dead people due to influenza. Not a teacher here, but one of my classmates said that another classmate ate his math homework. The sad part was, it was no excuse. It was the truth. I saw it with my own eyes, but the teacher obviously didn't believe him. In the 4th grade my friend said he didn't want to do his homework, so he ate it right there in front of the teacher. That was a fun day.